right, good morning. I'm so excited to kick off this stage of leadership updates from the various teams across Internet2. So look forward to learning how to use this live with you all. So what I want to do is just kind of kick things off by kind of looking forward. Because the work we're doing right now, in my mind, is some of the most ambitious in Internet2's network services history. Oh, good, it did work. All right. So on the left there, you'll see Howat. Any Dune fans in the room? You'll get the connection if you haven't heard it before. But it's our AI-powered operations platform. You know, AI agents are actively monitoring telemetry and BGP data around the clock, servicing anomalies before the NOC sees a ticket. Our goal is targeting 60 to 70% resolution of support tickets before without escalation. And through this, we can get self-guided service troubleshooting for Cloud Connect, user management, and onboarding. It's exciting work, especially exciting because we're actually working with cross-domain agent-to-agent activity. This means we're having MCP servers and across multiple organizations work together. We've actually kicked off work with SURF and ESNet and seen some great success on early testing. And in fact, late last year, some of you that might have come to our technology exchange heard work that I'm very proud of, where we partnered with UEN, the research network in Utah, and Ocean, the research network in Rhode Island, and put our Looking Glass servers in their network. And we're able to use our AI agents through Howat to actually talk and troubleshoot across multiple networks. I mean, it's exciting because what would normally take 3 NOCs and emails and phone calls, all of a sudden you had these agents talking to each other and looking at the activity. So it's a lot. I think it's the first in our community. It goes back to what Tripti said, the partnering that's core. It's fantastic. It's happening with the members in the networks and not in a lab. On the right side is Periscope. It's our next Internet2 console. Our Insight console has been a phenomenal tool for many of you and for the technical staff in your teams. And this informed us on a path forward. So now we're taking what we've learned, creating a unified, open source, federated platform, and we're going to be replacing and extending attributes within the Insight console in this project, basically across our entire network service catalog. I like it because it gets every network service in one place. We can do the live streaming data. We can build on the agentic access, the APIs. And because it's federated by design, the goal is that regional networks and ultimately individual institutions can leverage the code, leverage the service, and we can help bring together end-to-end discoverability on the network, something that has been trying to be tackled by our community for ages. I can really only scratch the surface of what we're tackling in the future here. And so I'm going to do a call out for some of the great members of the team that can spend more time on this tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 with what's happening in network services. So you'll get to hear more about that, routing security, and some amazing things that we're doing there. So let's see if I can make this work. So just some numbers. Everybody likes some numbers. Through some great work across many teams, we identified about 101 projects that were completed over the past year. One of the things you may have read a blog post about that we're incredibly excited, it took a great deal of effort, but it gained a great deal of insight to our community, was the development and the implementation of a 138 plus terabit bespoke network for an industry member to do AI model development. It's exciting because it covered connectivity between 5 different data centers with over 3,400 kilometers of fiber, and it's amazing. The discoveries that we've had, again, some of you may have heard some of the news here, but it gives us great insight with our partners like Sienna on what can be done with just a pair of fiber. Some of the other things that we've accomplished, we've augmented services for the 10 regional networks across the U.S. We extended DDoS protection to 9 more tenants. And we've also established many new federal program partnerships that are very critical to their mission and help further the opportunity to advance research within our federal agencies. So I've got a lot of data here, and I'm hoping that the slides will be available for you afterwards. Some of you can read faster than I talk, so I hope you consume everything. I just want to call out a couple of things. So this is 6 of our key accomplishments that we identified in retrospective and a lot of great work within our virtual network platform. The Looking Glass enhancements, the NetFlow analytics that we've been able to bring into, and more importantly, some of you in this room have actually benefited directly from the router policy that can all be managed within our Insight console. And so this is all culminating into a framework of tools that are critical to our ability to move forward with Howit, and I'm looking forward to advances there. One particular one I want to call out on the bottom right is our activity within the routing security innovation. We've partnered with CADA and developed a great set of tools that have gained a lot of insight about some interesting practices in R&E routing ecosystem, something that I hope that our community can use to help improve routing integrity, because it's core to really everything that we do in network services. Encourage you to read through the rest. The bespoke network, I've already mentioned, Cloud Connect, Kintick monitoring, a lot of great work. Again, tomorrow at 2:30, you should be able to dig into some of this more with the team. I want to flag a couple more things here. We want to thank many of you in the community that are helping with our next-gen packet refresh. We've done a lot of great work internally within the teams across Arista, Nokia, Juniper, and Cisco. And we've got the community committee helping us with a lot of these insights and decisions that we're going to be making going forward. And again, another great activity I want to call out on this slide is the quantum security research. So we've been developing new quantum networking partnerships and launched a post-quantum cryptography exploration. It's really positioning our members in the quantum computing era. This is early stage work, but it's the kind that our community should be leading. On the global stage, and more importantly, the collaboration stage and with our community, I wanted to call out the fact that I'm very proud that we had about 15 people on our team contribute to the designing and implementation and management of one of the fastest temporary networks in the world through SciNet, and many of you have members of your team. It's an incredible professional development opportunity, and it's a community, a social network that gains great insights. The other one I want to call out is the fact that with our partnerships in industry, we've been able to prove out and test 400 gigabit over 3,000 kilometers with no transponders, no regeneration in collaboration with Cisco. It's a new benchmark at the time, and it's great to see members of our community working together to keep pushing the edge. Last thing I want to highlight is we only succeed by the input from our SIGs and our working groups and our program advisory groups. And I want to highlight there's a great set here, one launching this month, the Time and Frequency Working Group. And if you don't have somebody that's involved in one of these SIGs, please reach out. We would love to see these numbers grow. All of our insights are driven by this community. And I would love to see those numbers grow. And finally, I want to highlight some of the folks that went all in with us this past year and collaborated phenomenally, whether it was on our committees, active work on our PAGs, and in the SIGs, and helping accomplish a lot. I want to see more logos on here, and in fact, there's some logos missing because I know you're serving on SIGs, but these are folks that are helping us make the right decisions on active community. So thank you all, and please let me give applause to those groups. Thank you. So with that, I would like to hand off to Dana, who's our Executive Director of Research Engagement. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I did want to ask James, when and how often does that Time and Frequency Working Group meet? Sorry. Oh, good, because the rest of my talk is going to be boring. So I'm Dana Brunson. I lead the research engagement team. See if the clicker works. So you've just heard about network services, and you'll hear about trust and identity, Net Plus, community engagement, and enrichment in a few minutes. One of the things the research engagement team is provide a bridge between those efforts and the research, computing, and data professionals at your institutions who put that infrastructure to work for your researchers and educators. And then we bring back what we learned from that community the real world needs, the pain points, the opportunities, so that the services Internet2 provides really reflect what those researchers need. We also serve as community organizers for the research, computing, and data professional community nationally. So institutions often tell us that they're thinking strategically about research computing. They want to know where to start or maybe how to evolve. So to help with that, we've developed a consulting program. So this is collaborative and accessible for institutions of any size and type. We support those campuses directly, but we also connect them with others in the community who are facing similar situations. One living artifact of that is what we call a cyber infrastructure or CI starter pack. So this is a set of reusable materials that you can use in your strategic planning for research computing. Helps you with writing NSF grants, for instance. And we've also iterated on this through regional workshops with the Quilt, Nevada, and several other states. If you went to the workshop yesterday morning, you got a slight taste of what that looks like, and if you want to learn more, let me or one of my team know. So some of you may have heard of CARC, Campus Research Computing Consortium, a few. Okay, so my mission here is to make sure you all know. So this is the professional community for that research computing and data community. There are 2,200 members from all of your organizations probably. So they do things like facilitate research, they help faculty and students make the most of the technology you're investing in, and help them leverage the national federally funded resources that come at no cost to you. We help sustain this community. We're co-founders. We provide logistical support, we co-chair working groups, and we serve on a transitional board that's helping CARC move toward an independent nonprofit status. CARC has numerous working groups, including new ones in quantum and AI, of course. So that community of research, computing, and data professionals has their own conference. It's the Practice and Experience in Advanced Research Computing, so you can think of it as their version of COMEX and TechX, or Global Summit now. So last year we chaired PERC 25. We had nearly 1,000 attendees, breaking the in-person attendance record. Nearly 50% of those attendees were brand new to PERC. So this is the kind of reach we want to have to grow and develop the workforce. So new this year, to help out a little bit, for PERC 26, we have established travel awards for early career staff and students from Internet2 member institutions. So those applications are due April 15th. And so if you could help us get to word out to people on your campuses that might want to go. So through CARC and PERC, Internet2 is building deep, durable connections with this research, computing, and data community. And that benefits the research support teams at every institution in this room. So, let's see, the newest addition to our portfolio is also the biggest, the NARE, the National AI Research Resource. It's a federal government effort to democratize AI research, access to AI research infrastructure. So our team's been part of this since the beginning. Just in general, since the NARE pilot started, it went from 6 resources to now over 50. It supports 700 research projects and more than 6,000 students across every state. This year, it's transitioning from pilot to full NARE, and we're expecting the NSF to announce a NARE Operations Center awardee later this year. Our team, in particular, delivers the NARE newsletter that reaches over 1,000 subscribers. We produced allocations guidance webinars that have reached over 2,000 people so far. So if you have faculty that are doing AI research or teaching research methods, they may have already benefited from the NARE resources, but if not, we can help them get there. Also this year, for the second time, the National Science Foundation asked us to organize the NARE annual meeting. It occurred last month, so along with our events colleagues who you're experiencing today, we put together a nice program, had all sorts of high-profile guests speaking. We had 540 attendees from 49 states. 2/3 of them were first-timers, 30% of them were students. We added full-day hands-on tutorials this year and multiple plenary panels. So all of this really means that Internet2 is well positioned to contribute to the next chapter of the national AI infrastructure, and I think we're all very excited to be a part of that. So, you know, none of anything I've talked about happens without community. So CARC and its 2,200 members, the Quilt and our regional workshop collaborators, PERC and the volunteers that build that conference everywhere, the minority serving cyber infrastructure, NSF Access, NAIR, and the hundreds of people who show up year after year, serving on committees, leading working groups, and just showing up for each other. So I want to close with something that's like less about programs and more about what research engagement really is. At our core, we're boundary spanners. You know, your researchers know what their work demands, your technologists know what they can build, institutional leaders like yourselves navigate the organizational landscape. Those groups don't always come together in the same room, and when they do, they don't always speak the same language. So the gaps in that research infrastructure aren't always technical or financial, but often they're people. And so what research engagement does is bridge those gaps deliberately and continuously. And before I go, I want a raise of hands. Who in this room identifies as a research computing and data professional? All right, my team. Okay. So thank you very much, and I want to hand it over to Kevin. He'll talk about trust and identity, probably.
True to form, Dana stole a little bit of my thunder. I wanted to start off by taking a little poll. How many of you are in Chicago? By show of hands? Great, that's a good place to start. I would just encourage you all to make the very most of the precious time when we all make the commitment to spend this time together. So my name's Kevin, and I do things at Internet2, and I'm here to share for just a few moments some level setting and updates about trust and identity at Internet2. I have the good fortune to be connected to two vibrant communities, and Sean O'Brien will be with you in just a little bit to provide a subset of the goodness that he and his team are co-creating with you in Net+. So trust and identity services at Internet2 are connected to in common. As best as we can do it, here's one picture to connect all of the services and capabilities that in common enables. I'll go into just a little more depth on Eduroam, the Federation, In Common Academy, the Catalyst program, and the power of our community leadership. Why these? If you're not familiar with In Common, these are helpful gateways to all the things going on in and around In Common. There's a lot to talk about regarding the In Common certificate service, which I'm not going to go into, which is why the whole CERT service team is here at Community Exchange this week. We have a booth to your right down the hallway, and if you have any questions about this massive change management project we've undertaken with you, members of all sorts of flavors from the team are available to answer your questions and address any concerns that you might have. Also on this slide are IAM tools and software. In Common team members and community leaders play key roles in curating and providing stewardship for a number of IAM and Federation tools that are created by you, for you, and with you as you tackle all of your local, domestic, and international collaboration challenges. It's not your father's Eduroam anymore. We and you have put a lot of energy into Eduroam the past few years, and it has paid off. There are more hotspots in the US than in any other nation in the global infrastructure. We are closing in on 1,300 campuses served, and by the end of 2026, the Eduroam Support Organization will expand once again, further driving the value of this popular service deeper into the educational institutions of the US. The difference-making and excitement around ESO is contagious. The beating heart of Eduroam at Internet2 is the Eduroam Advisory Committee. The EAC is quite active, developing initiatives to enable further expansion and make Eduroam even more reliable and more trustworthy. The Uncommon Trust Federation continues to grow and adapt as well. Just as with Eduroam, you can now connect to more services than ever, securely, privately, and with trust. There are now over 6,000 services available via Uncommon. And as always been the case, we continue to cultivate relationships and integrations with large federal agencies and the projects they support. Identity assurance is becoming a critical factor for these agencies, and we've got a lot in flight to support it. There are sessions this week in which you can dive deeper on identity proofing and levels of insurance, for example. We're also seeing Uncommon being leveraged as an infrastructure for how multi-institutional campuses are differently delivering services, and also enabling how different institutions are coming together regionally, thinking about sharing faculty, students, and instructional infrastructures in new ways as they grapple with escalating financial pressures arriving at their doorsteps from multiple angles. I want to draw most of your attention, you can look at the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, to the Uncommon Academy. A few years ago, the Uncommon Steering Committee and the Uncommon community came together to develop a plan for the next 5 years. We are aggressively acting on that plan. One of the major pillars of this plan that we affectionately call Uncommon Futures 2 is differently and better serving the army of higher education identity and access management professionals, architects, developers, and practitioners. The Uncommon Academy is the hub of delivering on this promise, reaching over 1,500 people in a variety of contexts in multiple delivery methods. Developing identity and access management wisdom takes time, and the Academy can help you and your staff on that journey. Many of the catalysts in the Uncommon Catalyst program are here this week at Community Exchange, and I highly recommend that you take some time to get to know them. One of the pet peeves in my role prior to coming to Internet2 was getting to know a new vendor team and the liberal use of the word partnership before we even got to know one another. The Uncommon Catalysts are truly all of our partners in navigating the complexities and challenges in identity and access management. Catalysts gather together regularly, participate in our committees and working groups, and as evidenced by this week, come to our national gatherings. They get higher education and research environments and have become a critically important part of our ecosystem. It would be a good use of your time to get to know them. And lastly, one of the best parts of my job is this. Passionate community leaders come together and advise us monthly, and in some cases weekly, to help ensure that our planning and resource allocations are on point for your needs. Over 100 people serve on all of our advisory committees and share over 2,000 of their precious hours annually in support of Uncommon. I've had governance and advising structures in my workflows for many decades. These committees, the people that serve on them, give me and everyone at Uncommon confidence and energy like I've never experienced before as we take on our joint challenges and seize emerging opportunities. It is truly an honor and privilege to serve you in these contexts. So now I want to welcome to the stage the meat of the Kevin and Sean sandwich, Mike Erickson.
Hello again. You'll be pleased to know that in the intervening time between when I was up here before and now, and before Technology Exchange, I'll be attending a special cool school called ICANN School, so that I understand inside and out about ICANN. The benefit of sitting next to Tripti here, I get that opportunity now. If you have been around Internet2 for a bit, you may have noticed a change in our name from community engagement to community engagement and impact. Collaboration, purposeful convening, and engagement with this community have been a part of our organization for the last 30 years. But we don't do this just for engagement's sake. I mean, we do like hanging out with all of you, and it's a lot of fun, but we do it because we want to create impact, positive impact, for each of you, for your institutions, and for the educators and researchers that you represent. Our community continues to grow. In 2025, Internet2 membership was the highest that it's ever been in its 30-year history. Now, we don't strive necessarily we don't have sort of quotas, or we don't have a mark at which we say we have enough members or we strive for more members, but it is a bit of a temperature check for how the value we are providing and the value that the community sees in what we do. And it's reflected in the addition of additional members. But community is much larger, much bigger than membership. It's the thousands of organizations and the thousands of individuals that you've heard about in the previous conversations, as well as you'll hear from Sean, that engage with us to create those new services, those new solutions, and the meaningful impact. Over the past year, we've had an opportunity to learn about what you value from Internet2. And yes, you value the network, as James talked about, and the amazing things that the network is doing. You value the interactions with CARC or through PERC or with the research engagements teams. You value the trust and identity programs in common. But you don't just value them solely. You value the network and the community. You value in common and the peer collaboration that it creates, that is through how it's created. It's both the service and the solution and the way that it's created through community that is what you value, and engagement and collaboration is a pillar of this community. So in 2025, we had dozens of in-person and virtual events that were attended by over 6,000 members of this community, from community engage and technology exchange to facilitating the inaugural NAIR annual meeting that Dana mentioned, SC25, and supporting the first ever minority serving cyber infrastructure consortium meeting. Programs like I Am Online and CLASS provide ongoing opportunities to share knowledge and advance our community no matter where people are located across the country. And it's not just across the country, it's across the globe. Alongside colleagues in the Americas, we participated in a series of webinars that highlighted cybersecurity work happening across national borders. And through collaboration with Géant, who are our partner in Europe, the New School, a private university in New York City, hosted the Networking Performing Arts Production Workshop. It's a powerful example of global collaboration at the intersection of technology and not science, but of technology and the humanities. Our marketing, communications, and digital experience teams, they serve as a megaphone for our community's work. They ensure every member is aware of the tools, the services, the programs that are available to them, and they amplify the collective impact of what we do and what we build together. We also listen. Our communications are built on community input, including the brand audit survey that we've performed over the past year that engaged nearly 200 participants through surveys and in-depth interviews, helping us to understand more clearly what Internet2 means to you and how our messaging and value proposition resonate across our diverse audiences. We are extending and expanding our community and actively working to close the gap for under-resourced institutions through the support of the Minority Serving Cyber Infrastructure Consortium, the MSCC. Through multiple NSF-funded grants, more than 300 organizations are now engaged in building a durable on-ramp to the national research and education ecosystem by developing and expanding expanding access to cyber infrastructure resources. From supporting the first of its kind HBCU AI conference at Fort Valley State University, to enhancing collaboration amongst research and technology staff, to student hackathons, to the support of students through summer internships, we're fueling the innovation in every corner of this community. The first MSCC annual meeting brought together representatives from nearly every historical Black college and university and many tribal colleges and universities, a tremendous opportunity for sharing and collaborations around some of the unique challenges that these communities face. We're investing in the people who will lead this community for the next 30 years, as I mentioned earlier. Through the Internet2 Emerging Leaders program, we are supporting individuals who have demonstrated both the potential and the passion to grow their careers within the R&E community. Our community leadership and culture programs, along with its predecessor initiative I2I, have supported more than 100 scholarship and fellowship recipients since 2014, building a robust and a diverse talent pipeline for years to come. We've also elevated our engagement with first-time ed attendees at our events, many of whom are here in the room with us, ensuring that these new voices that attend our national events and that are in our community are not just welcomed, but are active, engaged participants from day one. And as you've heard from Kevin and from Dana and from James, and you will hear from Sean, it is the community that powers all of these things. Every engagement spans every division, every team, every initiative at Internet2. It's guided by our program advisory groups, our service advisory boards, our steering committees, providing the wisdom and direction that translates into real actionable outcomes and impact. And at its core, engagement happens through people. In addition to those who were recognized previously, I want to take a moment to thank the folks that help empower and inform CEI's work. We have the CE PAG, led by Simeon Enanu and Syra Hasnain. We have the MSCC Consortium Leadership Board, led by Deborah Dent from Jackson State University, who is here with us this week. And we have the I2 Community Leadership and Culture Steering Committee, who is led by Gladys Andino of the University of Virginia and Jennifer Oxenford from Keystone Wren, who is here this week with us. So as we look forward to the rest of 2026, we're going to have numerous opportunities to come together as a community. But beyond those listed here, we're exploring how Internet2 can be present at your local or regional gatherings. We're partnering with FLR in May to meet those of you in that region where you are, and we're exploring the same opportunities with other regional networks and higher ed institutions. We recognize that it's challenging to send a number of people to a national event like this, but by partnering with you, we can have more impact and a more tailored engagement at a regional level. We'll be expanding and deepening our partnerships across the broad, diverse set of organizations and institutions that make up the Internet2 community, both in the States as well as our strategic engagement across the globe. And let's not forget, as Tripti mentioned this morning, we'll be working with all of you in this community in crafting a new strategic agenda for Internet2, one that is built by this community and for this community. So at its core, community engagement and impact is about engagement. Engagement with a purpose, engagement that creates real and lasting impact, and we look forward to doing that with all of you. At this time, I'd like to bring up my friend in the other half of the sandwich, or the bottom of the sandwich, or the top of the sandwich, Sean O'Brien.
Well, one of the challenges for me of being part of a sandwich is that I'm gluten-free. So the sandwiches I eat don't taste very good. So hopefully what I'm going to talk to you all about here will be a little bit better than that. But good morning, everyone. I'm Sean O'Brien. I, along with a very talented team, head up Internet2's Net Plus program. And I want to start with a simple question, which is, what is Net Plus? It's a question I hear a lot, not because people don't know what Net Plus is, but because Net Plus has such a wide diversity and engagement across stakeholders that I think to many people Net Plus has a different definition depending on who you are. Today I want to articulate where Net Plus is and where Net Plus is going and tell you a little bit about the program. So Net Plus at its core brings together the collective expertise, influence, and buying power of the research and education community to thoughtfully accelerate cloud adoption by enabling programs and services that act as a workforce multiplier for the community we serve. That phrase, workforce multiplier, is key. We know your teams are stretched, and Net Plus helps institutions move faster, reduce risk, and extend their internal capabilities by sharing effort across the community. We organize the work we do in Net Plus across 4 pillars, and you'll see them on the screen. Cloud service brokerage, training and workforce development, intelligent cloud usage, and vendor management at scale. These pillars are interconnected, and they represent how Net Plus scales capability across the entire community. I want to walk you through an example today of each of them, each of these pillars, and how we're working together as a community. The first is in cloud service brokerage, which when I think many people think of Net Plus, that's what you think about. How do we help bring commercial cloud services to the community? One of our core roles is to curate and evaluate cloud services and emerging technology on behalf of the community, so institutions don't have to go alone. We do it together. We have a portfolio today of 22 curated services across approximately 1,400 active subscriptions and nearly 600 institutions. One of the things we've been focusing on is an emerging technology pipeline, and you see some examples on the slide here around artificial intelligence, wireless and Internet of Things, and cybersecurity. That's really the core area where Net Plus differentiates. How do we bring the core talent around emerging technologies in this community together to solve problems at scale? I'll note that one of the things we're working on in Net Plus is the majority of these services you see here, and the majority of services we've added in the last several years are the result of competitive procurements, whether an RFP or an RFI, so we can ensure we meet the requirements of state and public institutions. One of the things I want to add just before I move on, service evaluation represents one of the key values in the Net Plus portfolio to institutions who adopt the services. We recently had a study done by the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University that almost 500 hours are saved per institution that adopts a Net Plus service, looking at the work that goes into contracting and legal, technology integration, security and accessibility evaluations. But creating a path to purchase technology is just one part of a journey. One of the things we need to think about is how do we have a workforce that is prepared to use and leverage the technologies and meets the current requirements. In class, cloud learning and skills sessions, that program has always been designed around filling gaps in training and workforce development that are not met through commercial solutions and may be unique to the research and education community. As you know, institutions are increasingly being asked to stand up secure research environments to meet federal cybersecurity requirements. CLASS has responded and built a secure research enclaves curriculum and program that's really across 3 phases. A strategy piece, how do institutions build their strategy, a design piece, how do you design your secure research enclaves, and a development piece. And CLASS, across the many different trainings we do, has contributed over 4,000 hours of training in 2025 to almost 300 unique attendees. The key point is Net Plus does not just identify technology needs, it builds practical and scalable ways to solve them together. Once institutions adopt cloud services, the next question is how do we optimize them? And how do we understand where we stand as individual institutions? One of the projects I'm really excited about is our cloud data benchmarking service. When institutions adopt a cloud technology like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Platform through the Net Plus program, we're able to make sense of data on consumption and use of those services, provide benchmarking to institutions on how your use may compare to other peer institutions, on how your use of specific technologies within those cloud environments maybe have changed, maybe are increasing, maybe are decreasing over time. Cloud data benchmarking provides really 3 separate views for institutions within the Net Plus program. a community view, a campus view, and a view of something called the Cloud Elevation Index, which shows how institutions are using the services. Next is vendor management at scale. We know that the technologies that our institutions are using to underpin our core infrastructure are often delivered by industry. NetPlus operates service advisory groups and a number of other programs to collaborate with industry on things like product roadmap, on things like specific feature requests. I show an example here from the Instructure Service Advisory Group where we have great interaction with the C-level leadership of Instructure. But there's examples of these across many, many different NetPlus services. I want to share one community success story of how we're coming together and doing more with technology at scale, and that's our Cloud Infrastructure Community Program, or CICP, where we actually work collaboratively across institutions and with our industry partners like with AWS and Google to actually develop technology, share information, and work together to build at scale. As I conclude, I want to share NetPlus is a vibrant community, and it's the people in this room that make that possible. So I want to recognize some of the deeply engaged people in our community and some of the deeply engaged institutions in our community, and thank you for all of your collaboration and work. As you go off into Community Exchange 2026, let's all think about opportunities to work together. Let's all think about opportunities to leverage our scale, to build better, get what we need, and make a difference for the people at our institutions. With that, Mike Erickson is in charge of the fun run tomorrow morning, and he is getting his workout, his pre-workout in here. I get to welcome Mike Erickson back up to the stage one final time.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, it's the Stairmaster today, up and down, up and down. Well, hopefully in the past few minutes, the past hour and a half, you have heard something that resonates with you. I'm certain that you have. You've heard about a program or an initiative that you're taking advantage of. But perhaps you have heard about something new and different you weren't aware of. And as we gathered the program committee last fall to think about what this session might look like or opportunities for us to share, they felt it was important. They have been to community exchanges where we didn't do updates like this and we didn't have the opportunity to share with you all of the amazing and strategic and operational work that I think is going on within Internet2 on behalf of you, the community, and with your input. So if you saw something or heard something this morning that intrigues you, obviously we will be here this week and we would love to have your input on that. We would love to have your participation in those service advisory groups or those program advisory groups. So thank you for being here this morning. We have a break now from 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Please return promptly, and we will have a wonderful keynote by Adam Crum. Thank you all again.